pretty looking propeller. Maybe it looks like this, maybe it looks totally different, but it's a propeller and you want to export it to Dremel. Here's how to do it. First, you need to check that you're actually ready to export to Dremel. This looks like it's ready, doesn't it? But it's actually not. Here are a couple of basic problems. First, depending on how you construct your propeller, you might have actually created it in different parts. They're called parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Some of you might not have. It's not a huge deal, but it's a problem now because in order to export this into Dremel, we need it to just be a single part. In other words, we need these 5 parts to behave like one. Luckily, Dremel has a tool for that. It's this Boolean tool over here when I mouse over it. It looks like a Venn diagram. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all 5 parts by clicking the Option button, holding down, and then clicking on part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I can click on the Boolean button, hit the Enter, and now it has them as one part instead of 5. So now it thinks of this propeller as one object. That's great. Okay, second thing to check, now that we have only one part, I want to check that the length is right. And in order to do that, I can click on the measurement button. There are actually a lot of ways to use the measurement button, but I'm going to use a really simple one, where I'm going to put a dot. So if I mouse over to here, it makes a little dot. I'm going to mouse over to the other side. Notice if I do it all the way over here, it makes another dot. And I can click, and it tells me my distance is about 100 millimeters. It's 100 millimeters in the x-axis, but that's good enough. I want it to be 40 millimeters, so I need it to be 40% as big. Yours might have a kind of funny number, might be more obscure than that, but I made my number just so it's nice and round. But here is how I'm going to do that. Remember, I need it to be 40% as big, so what I need to do is apply a transform. I'm going to deselect those points. I'm going to click the transform button, and now I'll select an entity to transform or copy. Instead of translating it by line, which is the default, I'm going to scale it. I'm going to scale it by 0.4, which is 40%. And then it's going to make me select a point to scale it by. That's like where the center is. I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to click on the center point. And now it scales it. Isn't that great? So now I can check, and I can put my dot over there, and 40 millimeters. Bada bing, bada boom. We're good, aren't we? Except I actually caused a little problem. Your hole also got scaled. So I use the hole function to create a hole. There are different ways to make a hole, but I use the hole function, and it turns out that it's not going to work as intended. And here's how we know that. If I click on it, it will allow me to adjust the size of the hole, but it adjusted the bigger version of the hole. Okay. 2 ways to fix this. One is I can make the bigger version proportionately bigger. So I divided, I made the size 40% of the original size. I can make the hole 1 over 40% bigger. That's ugly math. Instead, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of this hole, and now I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to click on the hole button. I'm going to make a hole over here. I'm going to have to sketch a point to place the hole. Well, I'm just going to I'm going to click on this button to create a little dot on the top. Boom, mate connector, and 2.2 millimeters still selected. I click enter, and look at that. I have a 2.2 millimeter hole in this object. It goes all the way through, by the way, which some of yours might, some of yours might not. Doesn't matter if it does or not, but it's good enough to go. Okay, now I'm ready to export. And I am going to export by now control clicking, and then click on export. And now I want to give this a good name. I want to give it a name like Alex Propeller Final to distinguish it from any other Alex propellers I made before. Don't change any of the other parts or it'll mess things up. I want to click OK. And now it downloads Alex Propeller Final. Isn't that nice? Now I'm going to go to Dremel. And I am going to get out of that screen. We don't need to see that. I'm going to go to My Files, Upload New, choose a file, and now I'm going to find the file I just created, Alex Propeller file, hit open, save and go to my files. It's going to take a little bit sometimes. First thing I'm going to do once I'm here is click on repair. What repair does is essentially optimizes our STL file for Dremel. It'll do that. I can hit the close button while it's still working. And now I see the original Alex Propeller final and now Alex Propeller final repaired. Ooh, that's fun. Now I'm going to click on layout. And it's going to show me my beautiful propeller in all its propelleriness. And notice that it has the length and the height right there. Oh my God, that's so great. And it is exactly 40 by 40 by 10. Okay, so now in order to turn this into a G3 Drem file, we click on the Save and Slice button. And it's going to create my file. Now, I can do a couple things to this. I might want to change the number of perimeters a little bit. I might want to up that a little bit to make it a little stronger. Basically, that tells us how thick of an edge Dremel's going to make. I might want to make the infill density a little bit bigger. That'll just add more stuff to the inside. The layer height's fine. I'll click on Slice and Toolpath Preview, and it's going to make a G3 Drem file. And isn't that cool? It shows us a couple things. It shows us how long it's going to take to print. It shows us how much filament it's going to make. I can get it to animate and show what it's going to look like as it's printing. Obviously sped up a lot, but here's what I need. I'm done. I can hit close. Now I can download this by clicking on here. It downloads that. And now I'm going to email the teacher the Alex Propeller Final G3 Drem file and the original Alex Propeller STL file. And then the teacher will print it for you, and then you'll be good. All right, bye-bye.